something was coming. Bravo. Welcome indeed to tonight's show. We won't be quite so hushed and mysterious. My name is Timo Peach. I am a music artist and a climate and future storyteller. I have a big interest in how we tell stories about tomorrow and who we need to do that. We brought together a fantastic group of people tonight to our amazing event, which I want you to give a big whoop to get some sense of theatre into it. Because welcome indeed to Music for Impact. And we're here at the wonderful Conduit. Please give a huge thank you to Sophie Fletcher and the whole team. Rosie, thank you. We've been brought together by a particular person around a particular project. So before we get into all our special guests and the fascinating conversation that's brought you here tonight on this summer evening, let's set the scene with a short film.
A local hip-hop artist makes an international name for himself. He is the first artist to power his concert with 100% renewable energy.
It is a real honor to recognize Mr. A.Y. Young, the founder of Battery Tour.
It's incredible. Can't wait for you to see this. The United Nations is now throwing its support behind him.
Mr. Young has made a big impact in his young life, born in 1991. He's a singer-songwriter, a dancer, producer, entrepreneur, and sustainability advocate. He's staged and performed more than 800 concerts. He was named by the United Nations recently as one of 17 youth world leaders of the world, the only individual selected for that honor from the United States.
Forward to stimulating this local economy further, bringing entrepreneurs together, bringing businesses together, bringing the world together so we can make some change.
I'm here to listen. Tell me what to do. Give me ideas.
My mission is to kind of break down these silos and build bridges to power collective action by bringing everyone together. It's going to be incredible. My work plan's in 3 different phases. I'm going to make an album powered 100% by renewable energy.
Right now, A.Y. Young is working on an album based on the 17 United Nations goals. Major stars like Tech9 and Billie Eilish will collaborate.
There are 700 million people that are still living in poverty.
The whole premise of your music is about collaboration 100%. And about getting excited. It's about going across the finish line.
I don't think anyone can disagree that everyone needs to have access to energy, water, food. My belief is that everyone in the world, we're all these outlets for change.
Applaud it. We've been brought together by that guy. And it's interesting who's been brought together. I don't know what your backgrounds are, we might hear a little bit later. The different people who are gathering around the issue of storytelling, narrative, culture, in affecting actual change, not just talk about change, which we've been doing for a long time. I have a big interest in this. But tonight we have a head of a climate leading bank, we have a head of a global NGO, we have a head of a global events and music brand, and we have some other surprise guests as well, who are doing it on the ground and who are also at the highest levels, trying to make sense of the global crises. We use the word climate, but it's shorthand for a gigantic global scale intersection of issues. It's all really one story with different outputs. The man who's brought us together is an inspiration. He is a climate advocate, and he's been doing it, living it, lit and led by a story he thinks he's in, trying it out on the ground and grafting as only a street performer and an artist knows how. And he's managed to gather around him this wide variety of people, which tonight includes you. Would you please give a huge welcome to Mr. A.Y. Young! Bro, grab a microphone.
We can
Change the world. Is that a lie they told?
Some people know the lyrics. That's crazy.
Now, look, first up, man, I'm sensing the throat tonight.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I'm having a little bit of a throat issue, guys, so I'm going to try to just tough through it because I've been traveling and losing my voice.
Tonight's show is brought to you by the word resilience, as you will see. AY, first of all, I should say full disclosure to everyone. We've done one or two things together before, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. We kind of know each other. Timo and I used to do the Global Goals Music Roadshow, guys.
Yes, 45 episodes of this, some in glamorous locations, most of it 4,000 miles apart. And together we, as artists and communicators and storytellers, have a passion for this, and that's how we got on.
Yeah.
So tell me about you, first of all.
Huh. A little bit about me.
You're a music artist. You've been on the ground doing it. How did you get connected to sustainability as a music guy?
Yeah, you know, people ask me that all the time, actually. You know, guys, to be super honest, it wasn't necessarily like just like I didn't set out to be like a young leader or a sustainable artist. I really set out to do what I love to do. You know what I mean? Because I think in life, we should all do what we love to do every day, right? Like what we're passionate about. Right?
Yes.
And so, you know, I got off a TV show called X Factor, and I just wanted everyone to hear my music, right? And I kept being told no, because the music industry is tough, you know what I'm saying? You gotta have all this stuff, you feel me? So I was like obsessing over what I wanna do what I love to do every day, right? Like I see Bruno Mars, Ed Sheeran, these guys doing what they like to do. So I was like, oh my gosh, how can I power a concert anywhere? And so in 2012, I had this eureka moment. I was like, oh my gosh, like everyone needs energy, right? There's energy in your food and water, right? We all need energy. And I was like, wow, if you store enough energy, you can power anything.
I like that.
And that's how the battery tour started.
It did. But it's called the Battery Tour for a reason, because you power it all through. And you were making the kit as well, weren't you? You weren't just kind of, oh, I got some stuff from the DIY store. You got, you built the kit yourself, a bit like an engineer. So you know what it takes to power change.
Ooh, well said, Timo. To plug in the world.
Yes.
To use music to power action.
But it's led to a project that's brought us all together. And tonight is a sort of coming out of a next level of it. What is that project called?
Drum roll. Or knee roll.
Nice. It's like a drama class. Project17.
Not that. Okay, that was it. That was the Global Goals thing. We talked about.
We had it on the screen the whole
podcast.
time. That was a bit of a miscue. To be honest, as theatre goes, that wasn't great.
Oh my gosh, Timo, what is Project17? I have no idea.
Well, I'm coming to you as the expert.
Switching roles.
Okay, well, how long do we do each other through this? It might confuse people. I'm going to switch back to being me. You do you, man. I've always said it.
I'm the panelist.
Project17 it's an out. Yes, sir. Oh,
real serious.
Should we perch now?
Serious
Let's
here.
perch either side of the screen. Like we're. Yeah. Well, I was going to say Val Doonican, but most people won't know what that is. Project17, Music for Impact, is what it's all about. Talk us through the basic structure of how you see Project17 and what it is.
Yeah, and I'll get a little bit deeper that I haven't really gotten with a lot of people is like on this journey of doing the battery tour. Right? I didn't even call it the battery tour in the beginning. Like I was like performing, and I was like, I'm AY, and I was like looking back and I saw batteries and I was like, this is the battery tour. And then people would donate. They'd be like, oh man, I love when you do Garth Brooks. I used to do a lot of Garth Brooks, Keith Urban's country, this, that, Michael Jackson.
You are such a name dropper.
It doesn't matter.
You're so showbiz, man.
Totally. Paul McCartney, whatever. And they'd be like, man, they would donate. They're like, here, you know, we're your outlets. We power the tour.
That's going to pay off later. Put a pin in that mentally.
Yeah, so that's what made the logo, right? That's why you see the Battery Tour logo, and that's where I got this concept and idea that, oh my God, you're right. Like everyone in this room, you're an outlet. She's an outlet. You know, Coco's an outlet. Everyone's an outlet for change, and plugged into each other, like on the local level, on the community level, right? We can power change. And music is this universal language to bring us all together, to break down all these silos and build bridges. You know what I'm saying? So,
I like this phrase that we have on the slide here. It's an initiative of the Battery Tour Foundation that harnesses the transformative power of music, arts, and culture to advance the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, not known for being sexy.
Or cool.
Or cool.
Or even known.
Or even known. They're more known than they were when we started, but they're not known as being super creative. How does Project 17 bring them alive?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's like, so you guys saw the video with the Secretary General, like, tell me what to do, right? That's good. You saw the, okay. And I was just looking at the goals. So I didn't even know what the goals were 2 years ago, guys, be super honest. So when I was talking to him, I was like, bro, more people know, like, Johnny Depp's relationship. Or like when Kim Kardashian be posting, you know, my dudes be texting me about her post. Yeah, anyway. So more people know that, you know what I'm saying? And so I was just like, okay, well, I can fix this. So in like 30 seconds, I came up with the idea, but really I've been doing music for impact my whole life, right? So one song for each of the goals, you know, team up with a major artist that cares about one of those topics, right? Got to get a brand or a corporation involved so I can own the music. Right? I don't know if you guys know about the music business, but sometimes you don't really own your own product, right? So the corporation plugged into a goal enables us to make the song secure, the artist, take it to market, right? And then the idea is having these 17 or more implementation partners, like these organizations that do the work, that get people the food and the water. And you're going to hear from one of them, the UN today, the Joint SDGs Fund. So 100% of the profits can go to powering the action.
So what you did in a way was identify that there's a problem. Although you're a music artist, you approach this like an entrepreneur, and you identified with the UN, this is your problem. Despite the critical importance of the SDGs for the well-being of our planet and its people, they lack the funding and the global awareness to ensure their achievement.
That is exactly what the Secretary General heard when I talked about Johnny Depp. People knowing him more than... That's the appropriate corporate way.
So Project 17 is a creative response to that very functional and big-sounding problem. How are we tackling it? The solution on this slide comes in 3 parts, my friend. I'll read them out. You comment. Project 17 uses the universal language of music, and I would add the universal language of bickering about music, and which is the best, because that's half the fun. And the reach of social media, entertainment, and culture in order to connect every facet of humanity towards the achievement of the SDGs.
We need every sector working together to power change, right? And so it's beautiful when, whether it's you listen to a Paul McCartney or you like a Peter Gabriel, you're into a pop artist or whatever, how music can just kind of connect you. Yeah.
Totally. Second one is to achieve the SDGs, we need everyone on board. It's not a light statement from youth, governments, NGOs, corporations, influencers, academia, artists, and more. Everyone, man.
Everyone's an outlet for change.
There's a hashtag in front of it, you can see it. And Project 17 is a turnkey solution that is dedicated to raising the funds and the global awareness necessary to advance the outputs of the SDGs.
Plugged in.
Plugged in. Now, you are, essentially, it's an album of music. Now, it's actually many albums of music, expression in different ways, but there's a core LP, a creative experience, a collection of songs, 17, one for each goal. You're getting some big artists involved, and you're wanting to plug partners into each of those songs and each of those topics, right?
Yeah, totally. This breaks down a little bit more about what we're doing, because guys, it's not just an album with artists, like, right? Like, we're plugging in influencers or change makers, one per goal or more, right? Because, you know, I was using a reference of like the world like tennis champion might not rap with Jay-Z, you know? And like Sarisha's here from BNP, she may not sing with Billie Eilish, so don't worry if you don't. But she plays a role, right? Like all of these CSOs, CEOs of these major corporations, NGOs, we all are humans, and we can use the framework of the goals to plug you in, right? So lining up change makers, obviously musicians, obviously the corporations are here to really help us get this music secure, the artists take it to market, operate the program, and then of course the implementation partners. That's what's essential, right? Is the action, like the actual impact, like people getting food, water, etc. More than just energy, which I've been doing my whole life.
Which you have been doing your whole life. You have. But there's that whole list there of the different people it takes to try and think all at once about those different topics. And the songs highlight that, and they do what? They make an emotional connection to the issue, right?
And before he switches the slide, I think I know we joke a lot, but and I think we can have fun with this. It doesn't have to be doom and gloom, guys. Like, we can save the planet. Yeah. But I think, I think what's really dope about Project 17 and why this day means so much to me is because it's already happening, right? So when you look at the slide, you see Sylvia Earle, who's like an icon. If you don't know who she is, just Google whatever, Voice of the Ocean. She's already confirmed and has sent her like 40-second public service announcement. It's like really cute. She's like, hi, I'm Sylvia Earle, I'm an outlet, I'm plugging the Goal 14. It was really cool. But she's already confirmed, right? And we already have like a band like The Head and the Heart. We already have some of these incredible corporate partners already, right? NGOs, etc. So we'll keep moving because we're gonna get to something really special.
Keep that in mind.
Shout it out. Oh, speaking to the mic, but I was trying to go with that. Oh, shoot. Did y'all not hear me? I was basically saying that, like, Project 17 is happening and y'all kind of plugging in. You know what I'm saying? Late, but okay, that's it.
Look, Young,
right on time.
Young, you've only done 1,000 shows.
I'll never forget that. We're about to skip the slide, guys, but I'll never forget. It was like 8 months ago, and someone was pitching me to like some big music business guy. I'm not going to tell you his name. And I remember we told him, AY powered over 900 concerts, and the guy was like, he powered concerts with renewable energy? That's not possible. And then the guy was like arguing with him, saying, no, you don't understand. He's done over like 900. And the guy was like, yeah, renewable energy concerts.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a random moment of just like, hey guys,
but that
we're doing this.
Any of us who've been on the front line trying to make change, that's a very normal reaction to get out of the blue. Here are some of the, so what are these topics, man? These are some of the outputs that come from it. You are doing the music and the storytelling, ESG impact, SDG awareness obviously comes out talking in formats like this. Thought leadership, clean music, global collaborative, youth empowerment. There's a list of things each there to unpack. There's quite a bit. How do you feel about the outputs that are coming out of this initially artistic instinct in you? Look at that. How does that make you feel looking at what you're doing?
Guys, when I look at this, I see radical collaboration. And that's what it takes. Youth empowerment, obviously being one of the 17 young leaders and having so many of the world's youth leaders. I actually just flew here from Utah, random place, with some of the biggest youth leaders in the world, and we were all working on this project. And we're blessed to be youth-led, youth-driven, but also operating with radical collaboration to bring the world together.
Radical collaboration, that is a big part of what it will take. Interesting, you're demonstrating it. You can find a lot of this information, we'll share it with you at the end. You can digest it later on as we whip through it here. We've got these 4 kind of outputs from the Battery Tour. First one is the global partnership. The second one is sustainable tour and album itself. The third one is thought leadership. There's a project taking shape there. And there's a docuseries happening as well.
I mean, guys, storytelling is key. Whether it's Gen Z, millennials, Gen Alpha, I was just talking to someone over here about storytelling. So I think for us with this project, it's essential to have this docu-series to tell the story of the brands, to tell the story of the artists. I ask people all the time, I'll be like, bro, what does Cardi B care about? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is your favorite artist? Or like, think about it, who you follow on Twitter. right? Who you follow on Instagram, etc., so forth. What do they care about?
What do they care about?
A lot of us don't even know. You know, so I think that to be able to tell the story is huge, and so yeah.
Yeah, there's a timeline that you're working out, just to give you an idea of this whole project that's taking shape. From Times Square Renewable Energy Concert, just drop that in there with casual showbiz. Oh yes, the Times Square show. COP28, you're going to be at that. There's a big project taking shape for that, isn't there? Davos World Economic Forum, you were there this year. You're going back. Sustainable Music Working Group launch. Then there's the docu-series and Sustainable Concert. There's a lot happening here, man. This is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to just saying, like, guys, this is already happening. Can everyone say plug in? Oh, say outlet. Say plugged in. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so like that's the thing about, you guys rock, that was really good.
They do just go straight with it. I thought they'd be quite a corporate
I'm not supposed to
lot, but
perform.
not here. No.
But guys, this is happening, right? And I'm blessed to, this is like my first kind of pre-launch here in London, right? And then I'm gonna fly to New York and we're gonna do the first ever renewable energy powered concert in the history of Times Square. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And we got this guy named Ringo Starr is gonna like introduce me. He's really cool. So yeah, and so as you see, it's happening. We're gonna go to COP. We're gonna launch Project17. We're gonna go to Davos. We're gonna do that well with a lot, and we're bringing our partners along the way every step of the way. No, we do not have 17 corporates on board today, but we do have General Motors. You will hear from BNP Paribas. You will hear from Samsung, right? And we will bring these along. And as they plug in, as more artists plug in, as more of every facet of humanity plugs in, we'll be taking them along this journey to launching Project17 and save the planet.
And save the planet. I think we should have a conversation and invite our guests on.
Should we have a conversation?
Like the GG show itself.
Similar. It's been a while since we did the GG show.
It has been
But this
a
is
while.
live. It's not like recorded. We can't fake stuff. Can't switch my outfits. It's tough.
No, we can't introduce the characters at this point. That's a whole other thing. But you used to say this brilliant word, and I've quoted it everywhere. When you don't know where to start, there's only one place to start. You plug in your passion. Start there with what you're passionate about. And every week on the show, we have people doing that, and putting them together is what we do. Shall we welcome our guests onto the stage? Would you please give a huge welcome to our range of guests? I will read out the names as you do. Please welcome our guests tonight. Nathaniel Matthew, who is the CEO of Global Resilience Hub. Yes, clap, just do it. Come on up, guys. Sophia Passetti, the CEO of Coco Foundation. Sarah Shaman from Sustainable Finance Comms at BNP Paribas.
She's so
and Andrew
beautiful.
Teverson, CEO of the Stage Bus. Come and find a seat, guys. Whichever seat you want. In the middle, I think, somewhere.
You gotta be the surprise, brother.
Oh, we're keeping him as a special
I don't know who
surprise.
that guy is. Sorry, security. We don't know who he is as of right now.
So AY used to just spring guests on me when I was in Bournemouth, kind of running one thing. He'd text me, go, oh yeah, there's someone else joining right now. We'll just get him in. I learned to go with this
Timo,
quickly.
there's no one else joining right now.
Oh, it's a
I don't know what you're
surprise.
talking about. These are our main guests.
Because-
okay, that's why there's this many chairs.
Because-
this one's for my phone. Sheesh.
Storytelling.
Okay, continue
right?
with the show.
Nate, I'd like to start with you. I still want to do that. No, I was going to do a reference for a British TV show that's very old, and I won't because it's a waste of everyone's time. We can cut this out of the live stream, right? Live streamers. Nate, I'm going to start with you because in a way you represent the cutting edge of the problem. Where are you from? You're CEO of a big NGO.
Yeah, so I'm CEO of the Global Resilience Partnership. We're big, but we're not too big. So I think that's important as well. But we're a small staff spread across 14 countries, and we work on resilience. And we've been working on resilience for 10 years, so long before it was cool.
Long before it is resilience cool? And that's what I wanted to start by asking you. Resilience is a big, broad word. It can mean different things in different contexts. Why is that your leading word as an entire organization? What does resilience mean to you?
So we feel that resilience underpins all of the SDGs, which is why this is such a great partnership, and we're so happy to be the resilience partner with Project17. But for us, it's a couple things. So we want people, when climate change is happening now. I think that's important. And we know where there's going to be some really big impacts that we're locked into. We want people and systems to persist in that. We don't want them to collapse. So we don't want like the Antarctic ice sheet to collapse, and we don't want people to collapse. We also want them to adapt, sort of take a step or take a left to the right of where they are. But then where I get really excited is about transformation. And that's a key part of resilience. So that's the new ways of doing things, the new ways. And that's where climate risks changes to climate opportunity.
Oh, I like that. Climate risk is climate opportunity. I'm a huge believer in the word opportunity in this. It's fearsome. Transformation, there's a very interesting word in there against resilience. It suggests new ways of seeing and words that I could quickly use that are more artistic, creative, storytelling-y. Why have you got involved with a music artist and a creative like AY, who probably doesn't look like most people walking around your offices?
Seriously, why have you got involved? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I want to know.
So I'm a climate scientist, and I guarantee I could ruin most evenings in about 2 minutes with some pretty crappy climate science. And we know that, you've all heard it before, and nobody wants to hear it again. And I think that, we met AY at the COP, and we were doing the Resilience Hub at the COP and realized, with other partners, and realized that the way to connect around resilience and to connect with different audiences was through music and through arts. And so we engage a lot of that, and AY's been central to that. And a big part of resilience, so we look at it across things like diversity, redundancy, inclusivity and equity, adaptive learning and connectivity. And that inclusivity and equity part is really central to music. It brings people together, and it crosses boundaries.
It does. AY, do you know what? You're going to jump in. I was going to say, do you know what he said to me today? I won't say this in front of everybody.
No, you say that, and then I'll say my next thing.
I wouldn't give this away on camera to a live stream or to the audience, but Nate did say to me, I've had a lot of meetings this week. This was the panel I was really looking forward to, which gives something away, I think. Not about your other work, but about the nature of storytelling and arts and getting involved with an experience, I would suggest.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, this kind of like can bring me to Miss Wonder Woman, Sophia, make some noise. Actually, we got 2 Wonder Women on the panel. But like, okay, because you're in the NGO space, and this resilience is an interesting topic. And it would be interesting to hear too, like Sophia, from you on the thought of like, okay, the collaboration between like NGOs and the music industry. Like how can that lead to a more sustainable future? And like, what's the importance of that? Sophia, Nate.
Hi.
Actually, first tell them who you are and what you do. Gosh, sorry about that.
I'm terrible at live speaking, so I apologize in advance.
No, you're not.
But I'm very passionate about this partnership, so that's why I
tap into that.
What partnership? I have no idea who you are. I'm just a random.
My name is Sophia. I run a foundation called the Coco Foundation, which is part of Coco, the music company.
It's Coco, the club, and the music foundation.
Free tickets for everyone. You get a show. I don't know if we can actually legally do that.
No, but I mean, I don't know if you guys have been to the Coco since it's been revamped, but we've been open a year and we've got 16 spaces. We've had 1,000 artists through the last year, with over 700,000 people of audience. So, and that's just one quite small independent music venue in London. But I think what you're asking me is how can music drive creating a more climate positive world?
And it seems like Coco's doing it, right? This collaboration with an NGO in the music industry.
Yeah, I think music is extraordinarily powerful, as is sports, anything that can really connect with giant audiences of such an array of different age ranges and backgrounds and whatever it may be. So if the music industry lead by example and create positive messaging around such a giant issue as the climate, people will engage, and the shift of consciousness, I think, can happen, which is already happening right now. And you see music companies all over the world really trying to drive this. But I think it's just about, our whole thing for Coco and what we're doing at the foundation, and I'll tell you a little bit about the foundation, but we're about small steps and just trying to be as authentic and real as possible, and creating tangible, just real results. And huge supporters of grassroots and community and new music. And the foundation focuses on, I'm sorry, I'm skipping because our foundation.
You're doing great. I was just about to say, like, okay, tell me more about what your foundation is doing.
So the foundation focuses on 2 pillars. One is the environment, and one is basically giving opportunity to disadvantaged young people. And we have a key focus of 14 to 25, but we're actually working with a lot of primary schools as well. So we're going all the way down to age 4, and it's quite amazing how formative all those different age ranges really are. We're a registered charity. We actually don't launch publicly until September, but we're doing some really good stuff, from building forests on council estates, and we're teaching and training the kids on the council estates, and this is in partnership with Camden Council, and we've done 8 so far, to learn about the environment. And we've got tree experts and climate experts, and they're there and they're teaching them about the impact of trees and carbon and all those things that you're not learning at school, or it's not at the forefront of education yet. So, and then we're paying them for 2 years to look after the trees.
Ooh.
And buying them all the equipment to do so. So we've created this little community of under 18-year-olds, and now we've got 2 of them interning at the council, and they want to be in the climate space, and it's just very special, and it's, again, very impactful.
Just to cut in, how do you integrate that sort of sense of doing those? Sounds like a lot of work, a lot of investment, leadership training in a way. How do you integrate that with the experience of the music, the clubbing, the creative community? How do those messages, how do those experiences fold over for Coco?
I think it's a circular economy, because it ties into everything else we're doing, which is supporting young people and giving young people opportunities. We're working with over 25 schools, and we're launching quite a few music-focused programs with these schools.
Do you get them like making music, practicing DJing, doing creative hands-on?
Yeah, so the venue itself, what they do, so at the bottom of the venue, there's a public space called Cafe Coco, and what they're doing there is just, I think, remarkable. And when we're in this post-pandemic age where so many music venues are being shut, and so you talk about how is music sustainable. This is how you create sustainable music. Wow, it's a sustainable culture, and creating a grassroots pipeline and giving these new artists a stage to perform and to further their careers and learn. And I think we're breaking 3 or 4 new artists every week in this cafe, completely unknown artists, and we're creating a community and giving them a stage to do that.
Oh, mate, can we give a round of applause for that, please? Yes. That is a great headline. I want to find out these artists. I want to jump to Sarasha. So you are coming from a sector that's not known for being progressive or creative, but your role really is. Where are you from? You're from a big organisation.
Yeah, so I run our sustainable finance communication at BNP Paribas, which is Europe's largest bank, and I think the...
One second, can you guys make some noise for her? She's so...
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. Okay, this is a special human, all right? Oh my
Tiny
gosh.
bank.
Okay, sorry, you can go again. She's amazing.
I think, so in terms of why the bank would get involved, I think it's kind of an interesting discussion around, purpose as well. And I think that's where we really align a lot with AY, because I think if we look at what we're trying to do as an institution, essentially, if you're the largest bank in Europe, you have a responsibility to help shift and drive capital towards the new sustainable economy. And, just from the kind of top line, that's a commitment that is something that we have really followed through in terms of walking the talk. So the numbers speak for themselves, but I want to talk beyond the numbers. So numbers-wise, we've committed 350 billion towards sustainable bonds and loans.
350 billion
By 2025 in terms of social and environmental capital across bonds and loans. We've really done a big pivot of the bank's whole strategy towards clean energy, and that involves saying no to new financing of oil and gas projects, which is really
let's
important.
applaud that, because sorry to break in, but I say applaud, not just, yeah, that's great, right on. I mean applaud so that your brain makes a note that that's a thing to take note of. It's a pivotal thing to divest from those behaviours. And you're saying BNP Paribas is doing that.
Yeah, I think there's a huge shift to 80% of our energy production financing will be in low carbon within the next few years. And I think that is the central point to say, right, you have the commitments. But then it's the follow through to how you connect those commitments to companies that you bank, to investors that you bank. And I think that's where the work with AY is really interesting. So it started because my boss was actually on a panel at COP with the head of the UN Joint SDG Fund. And the bank's been really engaged on the SDGs for many years. I've got some colleagues here that are working on it in the UK in terms of community engagement and employee purpose and raising that awareness piece to say, look, there's this rainbow of colours that can help save the world. And we need to understand how we can drive that with some of the largest companies, our own employees. We have 190,000 employees globally as a bank. And so there's a huge potential to create change within the system of the organisation that you're in. But beyond that, there's also this domino effect of change. And I think that's where the work with the UN Joint SDG Fund and AY is really interesting, because there's this concept of basically catalytic capital. So how do you create an impact from de-risking, driving investment towards places and people that need it most? And then how do you use the skills of your organisation and use the storytelling potential of working with AY to generate way more engagement on the SDGs than we had before? So, slight anecdotal example, we did an ESG forum a couple of weeks ago with AY in Paris.
At the French Open.
At the French Open. And then what was really interesting is in that room you had 400 leaders that are experts on sustainability from a range of sectors, some of the biggest energy companies, some of the biggest car companies, some of the biggest investors, kind of this whole spectrum of who is the global economy. And I think AY connecting with them is really powerful because it humanizes the conversation on what purpose you can drive. And I love what you said about being an outlet for change, because I think that connects so much with many of the people that we speak to every single day. Like, we've been doing an exercise this week for the next phase of our project with AY, where we're mapping the SDGs and looking at how we're trying to drive finance and drive solutions critically. It's not just finance, it's actually the solutions.
But actually the solutions, just to break in, I was going to say that. He's one guy, one person, walking into a room full of what I would call academics, people who have the facts and have the system at their fingertips. And just one person going in there full of theatre and story and narrative tips over all the potpourri and refreshes it, right? Dude, I've got to ask you, did you see yourself having meetings with global banks when you went out on the street of KC to do your thing? How do you cope with that, though? How did you pivot?
It's crazy, right? Or like I was Tom. There's Tom. Make some noise for Tom from Deloitte one time. You know what I'm saying? Tom. I think it was me, you, Sophia, right? But this was through Nate, because Nate connected me to Tom. Me and Sophia went to Tom and talked about Project 17 and whether or not Deloitte comes on or not. It was, sometimes I sit back and I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't know how long Coco's been around, but I don't think you guys have ever met Deloitte. And I don't think you guys have ever worked together to like make an impact. And what I think is so dope, because like even during that like conversation, I was texting Brian Marquise. And then if you Google who Brian is, that's Billie Eilish's tour manager. So I'm like, bro, this is happening. But I think to answer your question, it's just kind of dope to be like, oh my God, like this is actually really bringing the world together, and it's music. Because like whether it was the Michelin dude, all those different companies, it was all these companies, guys. I don't know, you guys know them. There's a bunch of them. But there's that common thread too of like when I would show them the goals, if they didn't already know what they were, most of them knew, that there was something that they were passionate about. Or they come to me and like, yo, man, like, I think I was talking about Ringo Starr a few times, and a lot of people know Ringo Starr. They know the Beatles. Like, that's what plugs them in. And I've always thought that if you could get everyone to like just a little step, you know what I'm saying? Like a little change. Everyone in their own way, individually, at your homes, whether it's locally, whatever. That's how you change the world, And I think that's what's happening.
And by plugging it into the big how it fits together, which is how the SDGs help. They help you plug your passion into a bigger picture and other issues, right, which we're often saying. Nate, I've got to ask you, I mean, how has this working with AY and the Battery Tour changed the way you see, has it changed the way you tell stories, where you're at, the narrative you're getting behind? How's it informed you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's changed massively how we approach, what we do in terms of convenings, in terms of communication. And what I love as like a theme that comes out is sort of the ability of music and arts to unite. And then that the entertainment industry is so much more than entertainment. It's,
what do you mean by that?
It's got this huge role of fostering youth. It connects and communicates across geographies, across generations, across hierarchies. There's so much, even it's a sense of responsibility there. I think that and it's great to see organizations like Coco taking that opportunity up, taking that responsibility and taking it seriously, and then also organizations like BNP Paribas to actually, with the private sector, coming in strong.
Yeah. I was going to say, let's harp on that for like a second. I know we're going to keep rolling through the schedule, but oh my gosh, Sophia, Sarisha, I would never think, first of all, a bank would be involved in music. Like, what the heck? Like, I'd be telling people sometimes, I'm the only artist with a bank. Like, Jay-Z doesn't have a bank,
Yeah, when you say have a bank, anyway, we'll unpack it later.
I think that it's the beauty in unique and diverse partnerships, and they're so effective. And partnerships are just the best thing ever. I mean, we've got 8 programs running in our foundation, and you talk about how do you find the time and how do you create? You go and find incredible partners who are on the ground, who are the experts within their field, and you support them. And I think the really special part about AY and Project17, which is I think why we're all here now, is because it's so authentic. And because it's so authentic and it's so real, suddenly you've got everyone's attention, because we want to support that. That's driven by authenticity. And when it's that authentic in a world where, not such an authentic world, and a lot of noise, and you've got 2 seconds to grab anyone's attention for anything, I met AY in Davos, literally within 10 minutes. I was like, do you want to fly to London with me tomorrow? and he did. Yeah. And he came straight to Coco. And we formed this amazing partnership together, and we're so excited. And
you talk about, sorry to break in, but you talk about partnership.
Yeah.
But I was going to also bring to you an artistic issue here, that when we talk about storytelling, you guys with the facts can preach it straight. Here's the facts. Climate scientists banging their heads against the table. Here are the facts. Why don't they speak for themselves? AY sings very clearly about his values and his vision of the world. How do you find interacting with artists? They deal with the thorny issue of preaching, or how to sing about the future when so many of us don't think there is a future, being honest. How do you see and maybe help artists tackle that creative conundrum about the actual storytelling of how we get through this and how we testify to the crisis?
I think there's a difference between organizations having a positive message and utilizing their ecosystem and platforms to spread and engage audiences and individuals to do their part, whether it's recycling or whether it's getting involved in planting trees or whatever it may be. And I think for the individual artist, it's really emotive. So it's personal to them, how they want to say their message to their audience and their fan base. But what we can do as an organization and a leader in its own field is help steer that and support it. And again, I think that comes down to just being responsible as a music organization and being accountable and trying to take real action, even if it's small, to move forward. So you can do massive things like, we're going to be carbon neutral and we're using the most sustainable materials and we're not using plastic cups and all these big things. But I think at the same time, what's really powerful and what actually creates change is supporting a new music culture, right? And supporting a new pipeline and giving a platform for unknown artists to perform and doing incredible programs in young disadvantaged schools with the talent and the ecosystem to change the young kids' consciousness and help them in a more climate positive way.
Give them courage to be climate
and
positive.
And there's no better messenger. Sorry, I know you want to speak,
No, you're good.
but there is no better messenger to young people than artists that they love to listen to. Like that's how they're going to listen. They're not listening to the climate scientists.
I get it.
To the climate
You know it
scientists.
well, Nate,
but,
I can
you know,
see that.
you have a rapper or whoever it may be go into a school and talk about how to be climate positive and how to do your part as a young kid. You're really going to take that in, and you're going to go home and say, actually, Mum, I don't want to use that bottle. Actually, Mum, I'm not going to do that. It's like really shifting. It's shifting culture, and 100%.
I think it's a change agent point as well. I think what's really interesting about AY's story, and I think the whole way that you've brought this project together, is that, to your point on accountability, you make everybody feel like they also have a part to play in a really positive way.
Yeah.
I think so often this climate crisis can feel, I say climate, there's obviously much broader issues at play as well on the social side and other the 17 SDGs, but I think that on the climate piece particularly, there's a lot of hopelessness in the narrative, and I say this as someone that has been to COP since COP21. And like I've been working on sustainable finance now for close to 10 years. And I think what's really interesting when you see that journey is how actually having a discussion with someone that is giving people hope and making people think, okay, what can you do? How can you plug into this? How can you act as a kind of facilitator of change is super powerful, whether it's with people that are young, people that are executives. Like, I have to give credit to you for being able to turn around a room that's full of people that are like corporate executives that have been there for a very long time, versus also turning a room round from a group of children. I've seen you do that, and I think it's really powerful the way that music can connect the change agency that we all have, whether we are a 7-year-old, a 70-year-old, or anything in between, or higher or lower.
Amen. The change maker seed. Dude,
Facts. Nate, I think you wanted to say something. I could tell.
I was just going to say that it's the inspiration, right? So it's the connection with the youth, and then when you see the youth fired up and ready to go, then that inspires us. The people who've been into these 10 or 15 COPs or whatever. That gives us hope and gives us inspiration, and it's that keeps us going.
Yeah, it does.
And see that what I keep seeing is the theme of youth-led, youth-driven, which is huge. And I was going to talk a little bit about some of the community stuff even BNP is doing. That was going to bring me to my next part about it's not, you guys are not just doing the high level finance crazy stuff, but also like the community driven work that like you're doing, right? And I think this is a great intro to a guy I look at as a little bit of a Superman. He's a little bit cooler than me on how he builds things. But like the community, doing the work, ground floor.
That's a link.
Doing the work, ground floor, and he's a community, and there's a crazy, cool video of like what's possible.
This is how our show works. He sends me text going, press the video, man. Let's have an introduction to our mystery extra guest right now by discovering his work first.
Hello.
I'm afraid you can't have the honour in the UK of any of the places in London doing the first renewable powered performance, because we've done most of the sites in London already over the last 10 years.
Tell them more about. I mean, it's funny. I was talking about the big music guy that we will not name, because that could get me in trouble. That was like, this is not possible, And I'll never forget having that conversation with. I had a conversation with a guy named Michael Rapino recently, and he's the CEO of Live Nation and as well as a Ticketmaster, and we were talking about what's possible. Lollapalooza, we could do these things. Tell them. I mean, it's not just an if almost. It's a matter of when, probably how you feel, right? Tell them what you do.
A bit like Nate said, we've been doing it since before it was cool. We've been doing solar-powered mobile stages for over 10 years. We can do up to about, as it stands, we can do up to about 8,000 people on a battery charge for 8 hours. All self-contained. And one of the other things with our stuff is it's not just about the solar-powered stages, it's about the whole integrated system. And actually, you saw the stage there, and I think it needs less transport, it needs less people, it's all the other parts of the system. Because so often when people try to do green energy and things, they come at it from the viewpoint of how they normally do things and then just swap the power supply for a green supply instead. No, that's not the way to do it. It's not just about using efficient equipment, it's about using equipment efficiently and actually redesigning, thinking from the ground up how you can get the maximum bang from your buck. What makes our stuff green isn't it solar powered, it's that it's incredibly efficient. We can play to that 8,000 people on a domestic 13 amp supply out of your house. And this is all technology that's been around for. We haven't designed anything particularly specific from scratch. Our stuff it's just making use of what's out there and understanding how things work.
Yeah, you're delivering experiences. You're the creating the experience platform physically, literally for artists to do their work and showing how it's done differently. But you too get non-believers, don't you?
Oh yes, we have plenty of those. It's quite good having been going on for, because we've been doing this for 10 years, it's less of a problem these days. Generally you can say to people, no, really, we know what we're doing. But you do occasionally, we had someone the last year who we had the exact quote of, back via the client, that apparently their sound engineer said that it is not possible to play to 300 people on a solar-powered system. Physics says so. Direct quote, I'm told, from a production manager from a reasonably well-known artist. But yes.
Yeah, indeed.
I want to throw a couple of things out there, because what excites me and what want everyone to know about the battery tour and what I'm trying to do is not just be an example, but teach the next generation and get them plugged into the solutions that they can do across the board. There are things that are not listed on our programs, the industry guidebook, different things that different sectors of humanity can do that we will be drawing out with our partners, so other people can follow the lead of this new thing. And that's why the level of importance of what you do with Stagebox is phenomenal. I was gonna say, so many people in the business, at least that I talk to, they say, well, can this get big? I mean, what?
How big
can this be?
Again, it's one of the conversations.
There's no way you can actually power a show with, say, 15,000 people,
it's
right?
one of these conversations I have regularly with people. Is that it's fundamentally it's just scale. There's no. We could do it twice the size. You just need twice the batteries.
We could literally do it tomorrow.
It's not complicated. And again, one of the other ones we've had is that we've been entirely self-financed. We've had no external money from anywhere. I don't think anyone would have touched us to lend us money to do any of this. And we've also come at it from I think one of the other things that's often lost in the green lobby, certainly has been historically, is this thing of actually, and it's less true now, but actually historically people, they don't really care about being green. They like to think they're being green. I did an event yesterday where they had a big solar array that didn't actually do anything, just to make it look green. And kind of one of the things I say to people about our stage of things is that even if you don't care about it being green, even if you think global warming is nonsense and it's all irrelevant, our solution works better than the diesel alternative. Our solution is silent. There's no fumes. There's no heat off it. There's no you haven't got cans of diesel to spill everywhere. One of the other things I think that's often key to get the message out with things is that these solutions are better than what was being done with fossil fuels in the past.
Yeah.
even if you don't care about getting rid of fossil fuels.
And what you've illustrated there is that this is one big narrative problem. It's a cultural thing, that people aren't hearing a story of that it's not just, oh, we've got to do better and clean it up. But this is an opportunity to improve the way we do everything, right? We must all feel that. Anyway, I'm wondering whether this is a good point before we conclude and get everybody's sort of final thoughts. We've got another special guest.
Yeah, and I think I want to say like a couple of things. Let's see. I want to say that this has always been and still is a grassroots movement, right? Some people will come up to me all the time. They actually ask me, what can I do? And I want to make it super simple, and I want to just say plug in. You know, it's going to take the radical collaboration that you see on this stage. It's going to take, at least for this project to launch, I'm going to need 17 or more sponsors. I'll need 17 or more great implementation partners that will actually take 100% of these profits and do good with it, right? Like, we're going to need these things lined up. So I think you're 1 degree of separation from anyone. I want you guys to know that. 2, I had this crazy vision of like, you know, like we live in this interesting world of social media and micro kind of universes through Twitters and et cetera. It's so crazy of like promote developing and deploying these methods through like working together. I think the third thing that I wanted to say, and I want to hear from each member on the panel, is just simply, what goal are you most plugged into and why? Can I hear that? What goal are you most plugged into and why? You know, SDG, on the spot.
17.
Crap, we should play him in the back, but I don't know we go.
Well, I guess, yeah, the partnerships one is really interesting because I think it's the one that shows the interconnectivity of everything. I think, again, like, when you look at those SDGs, you can't necessarily silo anything out. Like, when you help a smallholder farmer, you also empower them economically. So you're not only tackling SDG 14 on life on land, you're also looking at 8 on economic well-being and looking at things to do with gender equality often, because many of those people are women as well. And so I think for us, this partnerships piece is really critical because I think it shows that you can actually create impact through working together, and that's much stronger than working alone.
I like it.
Nate, what goal would you most plug into?
So yeah, for us, it's also partnerships because we're a partnership in itself, and we work with 70 partners to affect change. And I think, to take a quote from a musician that I listened to a lot when I was young, showing my age a bit, I think there's something in the need to just sort of stop, collaborate, and listen. And,
Good reference. Good reference.
And
Hang on, let's do that properly. Stop. Collaborate and listen.
And I think we do, and we need to stop, what we're doing. We need to take a bit of a breath, and we need to figure out where the pathway forward is. We need to collaborate, and that's the partnerships, and work together across sectors, across generations, and then we have to listen. We also have to listen to each other. Otherwise, we're not going to get anywhere.
Amen, yeah.
While the next one, either Sophia or Tev, my dude over here, answers, for the audience, okay? You can hop on your phones. You can tag the Battery Tour, tweet us, whatever, just Battery Tour. Tell me what goal you're most plugged into.
Oh yeah, do that.
You know what I'm saying? And actually, I'll say this. Some people, honestly, the youth, they just be taking photos of outlets, because that's the logo, and they send it to us. You can do that too, you know what I'm saying? Make this mug go viral. But anyway, which one? Huh? Yeah.
Sophia, maybe?
I connect to quite a few personally, and this might be a bit boring for this panel, but I'm actually going to mirror these guys.
Oh, 17?
Yeah, just because I think it ties this nicely together, and I think it's the real reason we're all here is partnership. And I think together we're going to do a lot more impact than just focusing on one goal, and that goal allows to help all the other 16. So
it represents the culture change a bit, in a way, or what's needed.
And music is fun, and people listen. People go where the fun is.
I think music should be fun.
No, yes. But that's the beauty of it. And then you get to say the message in a different way and connect in a different way.
Yeah, indeed. Andrew, I'm going to ask
I'm going to go with infrastructure, with, oh, God, I forgot what it said. Number 9, the infrastructure and oh, God,
yes.
I'm completely blank. Yes. Just the actually how you turn most of the technologies, a lot of the technologies already exist, and actually the key thing is actually how you make these into workable solutions for people. And a bit like with us, with our stages, that kind of is the whole thing of that we package it in a way to mean that the end client doesn't have to think about how to be green, they just book us, and it works.
Yeah.
And whereas there's been an awful lot of oh, well, you need to do this, and you need, actually keep it simple. Make solutions that people can jump on board with and can actually hit the ground running with, rather than needing to kind of try to work it all out for themselves.
Yeah, that echoes a meeting I was in with a local authority recently, and what came out clearly was, wouldn't it be great if we didn't talk about sustainability, but simply talked about our futures? And everything folds into that. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely.
Mr. Young, you're standing in this, you've sort of left early like the format of our show, but also you're in the wings there. Is it time to share our last guest?
It is.
Via
First of all,
satellite?
can we make some noise for these amazing people? Yay! Changing the world! Say outlet!
Outlet!
Say plugged in!
Plugged in!
Oh. Okay. I just want to say, it's just really interesting. The UN can be a little confusing, guys. Just throw that out there. There's a lot of agencies.
Wait, the UN can be confusing? What could you mean?
I cannot believe they even picked me as a young leader. Like this random guy with dreads dances around in street corners. Used to. Don't do as many as I used to, though. But this agency, I came in under the Envoy Office of Secretary General, right? DSG, Secretary General. And but there's all these other agencies, right? There's like 200-something UN agencies.
I don't even know.
I
it's
forget.
a test to be able to answer what
Who
they all
knows?
are.
It's a lot. But the Secretary General made this fun for the goals, because I think he was like, at some point we have to do this, right? So he made a fund called the United Nations Joint Sustainable Development Goals Fund. And I met Lisa Corbell, did I say that right? And Elizabeth at COP before I met this awesome person. And they immediately hopped on board, and I know that they're gonna announce at some point that I'm gonna be the official SDG champion.
Oh, the what? Does that mean you've got to get a tattoo of all 17 wedges?
I hate pain, I don't know about that too. But they're doing amazing stuff, and we're so blessed to have them as one of the 17 implementation partners. And I think that we all should take a moment. I heard that she did a special video. I haven't seen it.
All right. Should we see it? It's Lisa Kerbiel from Head of Secretariat at the United Nations JSDGF. That rolls off the tongue.
And long story short, yeah, behind us. It's cool. It's kind of cool. Kind of a
Morning, good afternoon, and good evening, colleagues, friends, and especially all the young people in the audience. My name is Lisa Kerbiel. I'm head of the United Nations Joint SDG Fund, and I'm honored to virtually share the stage with all of you, but especially with that amazing SDG champion with you in the room there, and my dear friend, A.Y. Young. As you all know, music for impact is a powerful tool, and it brings us together, it amplifies voices, and it influences positive social change. And undoubtedly, addressing the world's greatest challenges, from climate change to gender equality, it requires all of us, action from every single one of us. The creative industry, the music industry, has a pivotal role in inspiring action to achieve the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. And that's why we have champions like AY working side by side with the UN to help us advocate for success. AY has a gift, I'm sure many of you know, and he's using his gift to the world, music, and directing it towards positive change and positive awareness. And we're so thrilled that the Joint SDG Fund nominated AY as a champion, a champ for the SDGs, because of his passion for social good and his ambition to be a change maker. AY's ability to stand on a grand stage and address an intergenerational audience on the impacts of climate change and partnerships shows a true devotion of his life's work to the global goals. And 17 songs for the 17 SDGs using sustainable energy to power his concerts is an innovative idea that pop stars today had not even thought of, but AY did. Music is a universal language, and it mobilizes positive movement. And lyrics tell us the story and are powerful tools to build a bridge of compassion and to indirectly communicate the larger picture of our climate crisis. And I'm proud to say that so far, the Joint SDG Fund has reached over 188 million people, making lives better around the world through social services, different kinds of support, and by leveraging money through SDG and blue bonds. In fact, $2.3 billion already leveraged by the fund. And I just wanted to give a few quick examples so that the panel can continue on to the other panelists. One example from the government of Indonesia, where the government is developing blue economy strategies to improve and manage their marine and coastal ecosystems. Obviously, also looking at not only how to protect the planet and the coral reefs, but also how to bring economic opportunities to the communities that live there. And one of the groundbreaking issuances recently has been the Sovereign Blue Bond that raised over $150 million, and that goes directly into Indonesia's blue economy, which helps, again, protect its world famous ecosystems and give people jobs to protect them. At the same time, the Joint SDG Fund has worked with the government of Indonesia to raise over $8 billion through the issuance of SDG-aligned bonds and sukuks, or Islamic finance bonds, which are compliant with Sharia law. And this ability for investing in impact-oriented startups, focusing on high-quality education and jobs, implementing biotech solutions for waste management, improving productivity for shrimp farmers, it's one person at a time, one SDG at a time, where we're trying to really make a difference. Let's go from Indonesia over to Fiji, just a short trip, where we support local fishermen. So imagine Edwin, he's got a family of 5, he fishes every day out on the Pacific, just off the island of Suva. How can we, the UN, help promote multi-million-dollar investments into the islands of Fiji to protect their coral reefs from Edwin, the very fisherman who goes out every morning to provide for his family? So we've invested and helped leverage $50 million to accelerate reef-positive livelihoods so that Edwin can keep fishing, the tourists can keep visiting and going scuba diving, but the reef will thrive and survive. And that includes everything from ecotourism and setting up sanitary landfills, all the different parts and pieces that can really help not only improve food security and income for fishermen like Edwin and their families, but also protect the billion-dollar tourism revenue of visitors to the islands of Fiji every year. So imagine protecting coastal ecosystems help us save the planet, but at the same time, we're helping build resilient economies for people like Edwin and his family. Friends, colleagues, young people, we're at the halfway point to 2030. Some of you may imagine 7 years being a long time, but 7 years is very, very rapid for us to try to gain some of the losses that we've suffered due to the COVID-19 pandemic and, of course, the war in Ukraine. And that means we need world leaders, we need the private sector, public sector, everyday people like you and me to really make that positive change. And we're trying to be very innovative and really help governments like Uruguay who want to turn all of their buses electric. They want to put their entire transport system to be solar, and they need some infrastructure investments to do that. And in Suriname, the government wants to support pineapple farmers to expand sustainable farming techniques that also protect the Amazon forest. Same thing in Gabon. How can we go into reforestation to, of course, move away from oil and gas? Progress like this, my friends, is music. It's music to the ears of those of us who love sustainability. And these are the stories that AY's songs tell all of us. They're songs about our interconnectedness, about how industries can help citizens and vice versa, and how music can be a catalyst for change. So I am very inspired, and I hope you are too, to help us all work together towards these sustainable practices that we can mainstream through our music and our everyday lives for people and planet now and into the future. And thank you so much for listening, for sharing your time, and really look forward to meeting each of you in the future as a powerful force for change. And now I hand back to the panel and to my dear friend AY. All the best.
Thank you, Lisa, for taking time to share all that, some examples of what the Joint SDG Fund actually delivers. Guys, a last thought from each of you on storytelling. There's a whole conversation to be had now over dinner and elsewhere. I'm going to start with you, Sharisha. What's your sum-up thought?
I think we have to humanize the storytelling. I think Lisa just did that brilliantly, taking this huge issue of blue economy in Indonesia and saying, let's relate it back to this one fisherman and his family. And I think we can continue to do that. We have to humanize these issues. Even within finance, it feels like really big numbers and really big issues and really big companies and stakeholders, but ultimately they're there to kind of create change through you, me, everybody. Yes. And so I think humanizing that is really critical. And I know that's something we're going to be doing with AY over the next few months and ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
Humanising. That's wonderful. Thank you, Surisha. Andrew, your sum-up thought.
I think that there are positive solutions. That it's not that there's a lot of doom and gloom out there, but actually there are things that we can do now and that have been around and are ready to go, and actually helping people to understand that actually it's not going to be making changes isn't going to mean that their life is suddenly awful. Like it will make things better in reality.
Yeah, if we get to it soon enough collectively. Sophia, what's your last thought?
I think that the most important thing for this is just small, real, authentic, tangible steps, and I think community is key, and educating community is key, whatever the means or platforms or tools, whether it's streaming or TikTok or a program in a school. I'll give you a very, very quick example. Our foundation, we rewild a lot of primary schools, so we've done 27 already. And I went to visit one recently, and I had these 8-year-old kids come up to me, and they're like, oh, "Are you the tree lady?" And I was like,
"The tree lady, that's nice."
And I was like, "Yes, I'm the tree lady." And they just started telling me about how different their everyday school experience is now, having all these trees instead of just concrete and looking at ongoing buses and traffic. And then they go home, and I just think that's what makes such a difference, because these young kids are now positive about the climate, and they're telling me that they're not going to use anything with palm oil.
Interesting.
So,
Authenticity, changing the experience, humanising it, seeing that solutions are there already, seeing differently. Nate, what's your take home?
It's hard to add because it's a fantastic list, but I would say hope is a big part of it, and inspiration that I just get from AY, from the way you communicate out, and just we do a lot of work supporting youth in storytelling. We bring youth into the COP process to make sure that they're there to almost like audit who's up there speaking, and this just the power of arts and music just to really drive this and drive hope is what keeps me going.
Yeah, you've summed that up beautifully. Would you please give a huge warm welcome and a thank you to our guests, to Nate, Sophia, Surisha, and Andrew. Please, guys, thank you. You may now take your seats amongst the hoi polloi. Thank you so much for joining us up front. Leave your mics on the chairs there. Thank you, everyone. No, that's all right. We will continue the chat. We've got nearly to the end of our time up the front here as a presentation. We will be continuing the chat for those of us who are in a dinner. It's upstairs on the roof. It's a great setting if you've not seen it before. If you remember, you know full well. That's probably partly why you remember. I want us to keep those conversations going. As AY said, use the hashtag, follow AY on social media and the Battery Tour. Go to batterytour.com and let us know your thoughts. There it is, Project 17. When I look at the UN's Global Goals logo, I've got this shtick, and AY knows it. The revelation to me as a music artist, coming to this actually through music, a project of my own, that made me look at the world differently. When I then started to interrogate that wheel, I understood what struck me as an outsider, as not somebody who speaks as though they work in the UN. Like AY, I'm from a very different background to AY, but at the same time I'm an artist. We clicked across miles and cultures, age. We understood the language of narrative, of storytelling. We were like two bros straight away and know how to speak to each other on stage because of that innate language of storytelling. But I understood what struck me as an artist looking at the SDGs wheel was that there's a goal missing. And in my opinion, it is the goal that will activate all the others. When you saw the lovely, the version that we had up on screen there that looks more like a teardrops, or an explosion version rather than the wedges, what does that explosion imply? A thing in the middle, catalyzing the explosion. And it's the missing goal. And it's art. Because art is the business and practice of creating new ways of seeing. And there is simply nothing, and I mean nothing, we need more right now than new ways of seeing. new stories of us, and you have to get out and write them. Sit down and write a narrative about the future you want. Write the song about how you really feel about now. Show up and testify. Artists can help you do that. AY's job is to be a lantern in the middle, because he is such a gifted showman. And so he is prepared like a job to take all the hard work, the slog of being a trooper, my brother, and stand in the middle of bank meetings and getting on planes to go and plead places, because he has to be there to show up and show a different way. And everywhere you go, you transform rooms, as a top-level global artist should. It's AY Young. Bro, bring it in.
You guys make some more noise for Timo. Like, you guys are gonna make me cry.
You gave me a soapbox, brother.
Guys, this has been a lot.
You are going to try and what's your summing up thought from this? And then you're going to share something.
Guys, I'm just like really thankful. Like it's been a lot, man. I would do these 8 to 10 hour shows like every day, like Monday through Saturday. Sometimes take the Sunday off, sleep in the car, go to the next city. It would be year after freaking year for years and years. I actually started in 2012. So I'm getting older, obviously.
Yeah, you've got a while. From my perspective, you've got a way to go.
Man.
But you've also, what's that line? It's not the time, it's not the age, it's the miles.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of miles.
I'm so blessed. Man, can we make some noise for him, the panelists? Kirsten, over here, my team, Carrie, Rosie from The Conduit. All these people, Sonia's here, Natalie, I mean, amazing people. Guys, it's gonna take all of us to come together. I'm like having an emotional moment for a second. I'm sorry, bro.
Have it, because I will say, well, you don't get it together. This is a place where you can let it out, because you have a right to be a little bit tired. It's a hard work job, always bringing the positivity, which is your tone of voice, and I don't see you run down ever. And I've seen you in private, and I've worked with you on stage, and you are somebody who digs deep and brings it every time. But you are just one guy using your calling with a decision. So you're allowed to be, just occasionally, a bit publicly weary.
Yeah, right. That's why you guys are gonna help me, because I really do feel like I should. I will. Let's sing.
You're gonna try it.
The anthem for Goal 17,
Go on.
right? Why not? You guys will help me. It's really easy. You just say we can change the world. Trying to get Paul McCartney on here by the end of the year. That's the aspiration. Maybe secure Peter Gabriel, since he just hopped on.
Just going to jump in.
Happens.
I was in a cab with him in January. His phone went off. Peter Gabriel came up on the screen. Peter Gabriel bum-dialed AY.
He doesn't know how to work his phone now, guys.
And I saw it come up, and I heard his voice over the phone. And that's the kind of showbiz life you're leading.
God, you were in the car when he called.
I was in the cab, and
I'm like, Peter, why are you calling me, bro? We just met. This is We Can Change the World. Let's try it out. For you guys. You guys can all stand too if you want. This has been an epic day. Just loosen up. Feel the love.
Let the energy out, yes.
Oh, yeah. He's going to roll it. It's going to sound interesting. This is not a performance venue, but it's amazing. I love it so much. Oh, yeah, we can change the world. I have no voice either. Oh, okay. Hey.
Oh, sister, mister, look who's made a man's up. And now I can't find the reasons not to give up. It's gonna take teachers, leaders, dreamers, let's go. They always take the right away.
Yes, sir.
My word. So we can change the world. Is that a lie they told? So we can change the world.
That's good, guys. Well done.
Then we can change the world. So we got to come together now. We got to come together now.
You guys good? See, I don't like it anymore than you do. I like the outfit, that's good. What's up? Hey, within your ignorance, that bliss is void. Yeah. Cause it's a
about time, be humble and realize that we are one and the same, unique and one of a kind. Hey, brighter days come ahead when we join together. How you doing, Epperson? Hello? They call me A-Rock, I spoke to Akon. Marvin Gaye, we in the grapevine, let's have a great time. Yeah. How you doing? You guys good? You did good, right? What we got? I'm losing the voice. One more time. See ya, what we got, Timo? We can change the world. See it all right now, we in the talking. We can change the world. We can change the world. So we got to come together now. Got to come together now. Oh, we got to come together now. Oh, we got to come together now. We got to come together now. We got to come together through the wind and stormy weather. Oh, we got to come together. Thank you guys so much. We're not going into all the other stuff. Thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Talk to us. There are gaps in the battery tour that can be filled. You know who your bosses are. You know who your neighbors are. AY's created a platform for you to plug in and fund change and be seen to do it in such a creative way it could light up the world. There's an opportunity. If you want it, he's just created that platform, and that's why I'm on board as well. Guys, thank you. Give yourselves a huge round of applause for taking part. Thank you for being here. Thank you for understanding and wanting to talk about this topic. It is perhaps the most important topic to unlock all the others. Chat to us afterwards. I've been told that our meal, for those of us who had the invite for the meal, it's on floor 2. We can probably sneak up the top afterwards. I don't know. I'm not allowed to say that. But floor 2 for the meal if you're here. We might have 1 or 2 spaces. So if you want to stay for the meal, it has been quite an exclusive thing. I don't get invited to exclusive things, so I'm as surprised as anyone. If you'd like to, maybe talk to Kirsten, who's got a hand up. There might be 1 or 2 spaces. Guys, thank you so much. And a huge thank you to the Conduit and the team for inviting us all here. I've been Timo. See you around.